What's good, YouTube? Quinn Wade basketball analysis coming to you with another topic. Today, we're going to be honest and say, should the Los Angeles Clippers trade Deandre Jordan? And we're going to talk about Mark Gasol and Mike Conley Saturday and Sunday. So if you're new to the channel, you want to see Mark Gasol and Mike Conley and how I feel about the current situation for the Grizzlies, subscribe. But let's just talk about, should the Clippers move on for DeAndre? Now I'm about to give you my beginning, middle, and end about how I feel about the Clippers, even when they had Chris Paul to how they are now. I feel like they should have let DeAndre Jordan go when he wanted to go to Dallas. Everybody thought I was crazy, but I kept saying that. DeAndre Jordan, to me, this is just my opinion, this is just my analysis. I don't feel like you can win a championship with DeAndre Jordan being your second or third best player. He cannot score. He's not good in the fourth quarter because he can't make free throws. He can't really make shots unless it's a lob or putback. Other than that, he can't even shoot a free throw. DeAndre Jordan is a solid defender. He's not a great defender. You know, he's only averaging one block. He's not a dominant, crazy lockdown center, anchor. You know, he's long, he's athletic, he can contest shots. I give him credit on that, but he's not a defensive anchor. He never been one to me either. And Chris Paul is one of the best players in the league. Blake Griffin is one of the top 15 best players in the league, and they couldn't even get to the Western Conference Finals. James Harden had Dwight Howard, and he was able to do it. So he only had one player that was an all-star caliber player, and he was able to beat them and get to the Western Conference Finals. DeAndre Jordan is an all-NBA player. DeAndre Jordan, he's an all-star. He hasn't been a perennial all-star, but he has became an all-star before, and he has been an all-NBA player before. I just didn't believe that you can win a championship with DeAndre Jordan being your third or second best player. And they gave him that $20 million contract. They gave him the $100 million, and they have been stuck in mediocrity where they have enough talent to compete, but they haven't been able to get over the hump. Then they lose Chris Paul. They get depth. They lose a franchise player and get depth in return. Next thing you know, DeAndre Jordan goes from being your third best player to being your second best player. And then now you don't even have a chance to compete for a championship with just Blake and DeAndre. Now that Blake Griffin is injured and they have Patrick Beverly out for the year, Danilo has always been injured. He's injured currently right now. Now people are starting to say, hey, they need to let go of DeAndre Jordan and get something in return because you're not going to win this year. There's no point in keeping him because he might not stay around. He wanted to go to Dallas. They convinced him to come back, and now he has a chance to leave again because he can opt out of his contract and go to another team in free agency this year. So why keep DeAndre Jordan when you can trade him and get something in return? The problem I have with that argument is, would you just let DeAndre leave and just get the aspiring money? Like, he's not on our books anymore. Now we have more money to get other people or give other people extensions. Or should you just trade him for what? What is you going to get for DeAndre Jordan? His value is at a low. We know he can't shoot free throws. We know he's not an anchor defensively. We know he can't really score. And they know that we're about to trade him. And, like, you didn't really get nothing for Eric Bledsoe besides, like, with a first round and a second round pick. Greg Monroe don't even count because they don't even want to keep Greg Monroe. He's just an NBA player that can still play, and he's an aspiring contract. Eric Bledsoe got 2 years on this deal, so Greg Monroe, his contract is up, so they get a pick, plus he goes, and now you have salary cap. Should you just let DeAndre Jordan leave and just get the salary cap? Or is you going to trade him for what, 2 second-round picks or a first-round pick that's not even a top 10 pick? And honestly, if somebody, that's what you have to do because I'm not giving you a top 10 pick for DeAndre Jordan. Would I give you a top 25, top 30 pick? Maybe. But that's the best case scenario for the Clippers. Blake is out for 2 months. Your best player is out for 2 months. You might not even make the playoffs. Even if you do miss the playoffs, you might not lose enough games to where you're going to get a top 10 pick. Plus, DeAndre still might leave, and then you have to find a way to replace him. Even if you get a draft pick, you still gonna have to replace DeAndre Jordan in the future, so Blake can have a reason to want to stay in the clip with the Clippers, because they was going to they extended Blake Griffin contract, so that means they committed to having him, but he's always injured and he hasn't been able to stay healthy. So we'll see what happens. I just don't think that DeAndre Jordan can be your second or third best player on a championship team. I could be wrong, but it's been proven that I'm right so far. And what can you really get in return? I think if you can't get a 25 to 30 pick, which is bad for a player like DeAndre, I don't like the deal. You can't get an aspiring because his contract can already expire because he can opt out. So that's not going to happen. And all you're getting is a top 20 to 30 pick, and you might get a player that's good, or you might not get a player. But DeAndre Jordan is guaranteed a double-double every season, and you might not even be able to get that in the draft. So they're in a situation where, they got the worst case scenario that everybody that's injury prone, because even Beverly has a lot of injuries, all the people that's injury prone gets injured. I said that in What to Expect video that worst case scenario for the Clippers, that the people that they building this team around gets injured. All of them are injured. Two of them are out for Patrick Beverly, and Blake is out for a long time. We don't know when Danilo is coming back. The other point guard, he having trouble with injuries too, and that was the worst case scenario, that all of them get injured and it happened. And now you have to think, what can we do for the rest of the season? Should we just tank it in? Should we still try to compete? Should we just wait to see if Blake Griffin can come back healthy and get us back on the right track? If everybody can come back healthy besides Beverly because he's out for the season, I don't know what they're going to do. Should they just tank it in and trade DeAndre and just be like, Blake, just come back healthy next season? Or should they be like, hey, DeAndre, he's finished. Let's trade him. Let's get rid of Blake, who's on a ridiculous contract. It's going to be hard to trade that contract. And on top of that, he's coming off an injury, a severe injury, which is a knee injury, and that's bad for big man with their legs and their feet. I don't know what they're going to do. Obviously, I would just let him go and just get the aspiring salary cap. I wouldn't trade him for a first round pick unless that's all you can really get and you still can get rid of the contract. But most likely they're going to want you to take something back, which might not even be worth it, because you rather just let him aspire and leave at this point, because you're not going to get that much for him, because DeAndre Jordan is not a superstar player. So I can understand that too. So they're in a situation where they don't know what they're going to do. They had a plan of how they was going to compete and try to stay relevant, and it has blew up in their face year one. We don't know what they're going to do coming next season when they get their players back. The problem with the Clippers, they have a lot of players that's going to be a free agent. They have Blake Griffin locked down contract-wise, but they have a lot of players that can leave next year. They have a lot of players that has aspiring deals already. So is they going to try to rebuild again with Blake Griffin, or is they going to just say, hey, we ain't going to be able to win. We lost our second best player in DeAndre. All the other players can leave if they want to. Obviously, you still in LA, so people are going to want to come play. Oh, they got Blake. I can play in LA. I can get paid and play in LA. That's a win-win. You're in a beautiful city, got a beautiful place, and you're getting paid money because they have a lot of money coming up. But the worst case scenario happened to them with everybody injured. And now we're starting to realize that, the Clippers might have to blow it up. And now people even saying, should they have gave Blake Griffin that contract, because he's always injured and he's going to miss damn near the rest of the season with the 2 months, because it's December already. He might not come back until February. And if the team don't start winning now, there's no point in him even coming back to compete for a 7th or 8th seed spot. No, he might as well just miss the rest of the season at this point, because I wouldn't even try to risk further injury to Blake if I plan on keeping him for the next couple of years, because they gave him an extension. But it could happen like Dwight Howard, where they signed Dwight Howard. The Hawks signed Dwight Howard. He's going to be this guy. He's going to be our anchor. He's going to be a difference maker. And the next season they traded him. Like, we signed Dwight. It didn't work out. We let Paul Millsap go. We let Dwight Howard go. and we got what we can get back, and now we're going to try to rebuild with Dennis Schroeder. Even though I don't think Dennis Schroeder is a franchise guy, but that was really the only alternative to let's lose and let's try to get young talent that probably can be superstars. Let's try to lose draft high quality players. And sometimes you can't get free agents like a place like Atlanta. The draft is the only way you can really technically get a superstar unless you trade for them or they want out and they don't mind coming for a couple of years, kind of like Carmelo and Paul George and Jimmy Butler. You knew you couldn't keep them, so I'm going to trade. Jimmy Butler might not want to go to Minnesota realistically, but since he was traded to Minnesota, now he has to play, for his living, which is playing in the NBA. So I think it's the Dwight Howard, Paul Millsap thing where let's see what we can do. Let's see what we have. Obviously, they was mediocre and they just blew it up. And they got rid of Dwight and they let Paul Millsap walk. I think they should just let Deandre Jordan walk and see what you can get for Blake. And if you can get a good deal for Blake, why not move him and try to rebuild? I know the Clipper fans ain't going to like that because they rather be winning than go back through a rebuild because you know how the Clippers been terrible for years. And Blake Griffin was that number one pick. Yes, we going to win. And then they end up being their playoff team for multiple years. It looks like that streak going to end this year, depending if they can stay winning. But if they lose, then they're going to finally snap that streak of making the playoffs for a couple years in a row. So we'll see. I still like Blake Griffin. I still think he's one of the better players in the league. But at the same time, he might not be the guy for this roster, for this team in the future. And he's not getting any younger. He's only getting older. And his body getting tore up every single year. So if you can get the right offer, you should move him. If you can't get the right offer, then I guess you hold on to him and see if he can ever play at a higher level and try to cash in the future. But we will have to see. Let me know what you guys think. What should the Clippers do? Should they trade DeAndre? Should they trade Blake? Should they wait till you get back healthy? Do you think they should just blow it up? Or you should just think, like, hey, all these contracts expiring. Let's try to rebuild around Blake in this free agency and see if we can rebuild around him again. Or should we just say, hey, everybody expiring. Let's just trade our players, get some young prospects, and rebuild through the draft and rebuild with picks and see what we can do. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Check out my website if you're on YouTube, analysisplayground.com. Link will be in the description and comment section below. Also, check out my Facebook page if you're on YouTube. Check out my Facebook. It'll be in the description in the comment section below. Also, like on Facebook to show support. The link will be in the description. And if you're up on any other platform, continue to watch my videos and thank you. And Quinn Wade, I'm gone.